What is up, everybody? Tim Anderson, aka Renfail here, and welcome back to another Solasta Crown of the Magister video here on my YouTube channel. This is one of my favorite CRPGs of all time. I'm currently, as of this recording, working on a playthrough of the Lost Valley DLC. Looking forward to the Palace of Ice coming later this summer in 2023. But in the meantime, I wanted to take you guys through what I consider to be the ultimate party combination, the ultimate group combination to give you the best party to go through any of the campaigns that you're going to come up against. Because even though, yes, any combination of race and class will allow you to have a successful playthrough because you can adjust the difficulty of the game, there is, in my opinion, the ultimate combo, the best combination of classes to get you through no matter what difficulty you're going to be playing on. And that's what we're going to be diving in today. Before we get there, though, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Drop a super chat on this video if you can, if you're on the premiere, or if you're on a live stream. You can also do super thanks after the fact, or join as a member of the channel. There's 3 different tiers of membership here. We also have a Patreon page. Don't forget the Discord. Let's dive in. First up on the list is going to be the tank for your party. Now, I have been torn over the years whether I want to go with a straight up defensive fighter or a paladin. And it kind of does depend on the game that you're playing, which one of those is going to be the better option. In this case, the better option is going to be the paladin. Now, one of the reasons I choose a human is because of the fact that you get a +1 to all of your ability scores, which is a nice little bonus that gets you through, in my opinion, all the things you would need to Now, if you've watched me play other CRPGs over the years like Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Pillars of Eternity, I'm traditionally going to have a defensive fighter of some type, and I'm usually going to go with a human for the race on that main tank for my party. And the reason is because, as with many games, the human tends to get a +1 to all ability scores, which is a nice bonus right out of the gate. But in this case, rather than going with the defensive fighter, we're going to be going straight to the paladin. Now, there are a variety of reasons that I think the paladin is a better choice to run through Solasta as your main tank for the group. Mostly because of the fact that they get all of the basic defensive abilities of the warrior, such as the ability to use a shield and heavy armor. But you also get these different casting abilities, which with the 5th edition rule set really do make the paladin a unique main tank in that they can heal, but they also have the ability to do damage with their spells. Now, you could go with the fighter. It's not a bad choice. You get your fighting styles, like defensive fighting style and everything else, but it's just not as badass as the paladin, in my opinion. And that's what this video is all about, the ultimate build, the ultimate combination of classes to make up that perfect group. So a paladin is what we would choose to go with here. I would personally go, in terms of skills, go with athletics right off the bat, and intimidation, because it's going to give you options in conversations, and the athletics is going to give you options in the field. In terms of everything beyond that, we can look at the higher levels here and look at the sacred oaths and get the subclasses. So in terms of what I would choose to do with the subclass here, you have your option between the Oath of Devotion, the Oath of the Motherland. So in this case, you get Shield, Lesser Restoration, Aid. I mean, those are nice buffs and everything else. The Oath of the Motherland is Bane, Branding Smite, Fireball. Oath of Tiramar, Sleep Shield, Hold Person, Daylight and Slow, or the Oath of Judgment. I would personally choose to go with the Oath of the Motherland because of the fact that you get all of these damage abilities. You get Burning Hands, Bane, Branding Smite, Scorching Ray, Fireball, Dispel Magic. All of these things are great to add a little bit of extra DPS to your group. And you also get the Volcanic Aura, which means friendly creatures in the aura gain fighter resistance and a +1 to AC. So it's really potent. Divine Smite is the main thing that you're going to be taking advantage of in a lot of your combat scenarios, simply because you get the ability to do all of this additional radiant damage when you're attacking undeads and fiends and beyond. And you, of course, get your paladin spell lists, your sacred oaths. You get to choose your ability scores at level 4, so on and so forth. The R of Protection and beyond, R of Courage, the improved Divine Smite. So many options here that make the paladin the best choice for the main tank for your group. So without a doubt, make sure that you set your tank to be a paladin. Now you can choose other races. I think the human is a better option just because you get all of the 1+1s to all your stat bonuses right out of the gate. And from here you can set up your background and everything else however you choose to based upon your playstyle. Next up is going to be the healer for your party, and while the druid can do a decent enough job, I am always going to go with a cleric, and there is no better cleric in my mind than a hill dwarf, because you're going to get a +2 constitution, saving throw versus poison, resistance to poison damage, unaffected by heavy armor penalties, and a +1 to your wisdom, as well as a +1 hit point per level, which just makes them an incredibly beefy cleric. Now from here, one of the reasons I think that the cleric is a better option than the druid is because of the fact that you're going to get the best healing spells in the game with the cleric class. Now from here, obviously, we're going to look at the divine domains so that you can understand one of the best ways to spec your cleric. But right out of the gate, cleric is the best. They just really are in terms of raw heals. Now, the druid is a nice option if you're doing like a hybrid group, but again, we're about building that ultimate meta build, that ultimate group, which we've already got the paladin at the front line. He's got some healing spells backed up by a cleric who's got better healing spells. Your party should have no problem dealing with anything that's thrown their way. And because we've spec'd our paladin to be doing damage as well as doing a little bit of backup heals, we don't have to worry so much about the lack of DPS that your cleric might otherwise have had you rolled a druid. Now your cleric can still do some DPS depending on how you spec him within the domains. So let's take a look at this. There are a lot of different ways that you can go from here. At level 1, you're going to be choosing your elemental here, right? So where are we going? I'm going to be going with life because we want the best heal spells possible. I'm getting bless, cure wounds, revivify, mass healing word, mass cure wounds, raise the dead, guardian of faith. All of these things are good, and because you're a disciple of life, when you cast a healing spell, the target regains additional hit points equal to the 2 times your spell level. This is very, very important in terms of the benefits of the heal spells, which helps you get the most out of this class. You're going to get other things as you go along. You'll get the Blessed Life thing at level 6. Also Preserve Life at level 2. Restore hit points to 1 or more allies within 6 cells up to half the hit point max. At level 6, you cast a spell of first level or high that requires hit points to a creature other than yourself. You regain hit points. And at level 8, of course, you get Divine Strike, like the Paladin does. And at level 10, you can request the help of your deity, which is really cool. So the life magic, life school is the best option for me. Now, higher levels, you can take a look here and all the different things that you're going to get. Bear in mind that the cleric does get some damage spells, but the primary purpose of this individual in this group is to be your heal bot. You want them keeping the group buffed and healed as much as possible, letting your main tank take the bulk of the damage while they're out in the front, and relying upon your DPS classes to do DPS for you. Which means now it's time for us to talk about the last 2 party members, your DPS builds. Alright, next up is your 3rd party member, who is a DPS slot. And I'm going to go with a Sylvan Elf for this because we want the dexterity bonus and the wisdom bonus that come with this. And from here, we're rolling straight into the next. But we also get a proficiency with perception, which is important, immunity, magical sleep, and saving throw against charm. But we are going straight from here into the Ranger. Now, the reason we want to do a Ranger as opposed to, say, a ranged thief, and I have played through, if you watch any of my streams, I have gone through with thief characters in the past who do a combination of ranged and melee. In this case, we're looking at a raw DPS character. We're creating that ultimate build here. So we have the ultimate tank, the ultimate healer, and now we're rolling 2 really amazing DPS characters. Now, one of the reasons I think that the Ranger is the best option is because of the fact that there are mobs in this game that fly, and sometimes you're going to be in situations where you need to handle these mobs that are out of melee range, which means you need more than just one character in your party who's going to be able to handle those ranged DPS characters who are flying around the room. The Ranger is one of the best options apart from a spellcaster. So we want to actually go straight into this. And the reason I wrote the Sylvan Elf is because of the Dex bonus. The Wisdom bonus doesn't hurt, but from here, really we're looking for that Dex bonus and being able to get the most out of the ranged character. Now, from here, choosing the favorite enemy, you can kind of go with whatever you want. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Natural Explorer really doesn't matter. That's just for the terrain and everything else. But we do want to look at the Ranger archetypes because that's very important for these subclasses you're going to get at level 3. And we are absolutely going to want to go with the Marksman. So the Marksman allows you to, when a visible opponent 2 cells or more from you attacks you with a ranged weapon or spell, you can use your reaction to take a shot after the triggering attack. It's totally worth it. Level 7, when you're within melee range, you can use your bonus to remove 1 cell without provoking opportunity attacks and gain advantage on your next attack with a ranged weapon. You can craft arrows every time you take a short rest or long rest, which is amazing. And at level 11, if you're using a ranged weapon, your bonus action can be used to make an additional ranged attack on the same target. It's just way too powerful to be able to be the Marksman and just really rain down hellfire upon your components. Now, at higher levels, you can take a look at all the things you get here. But basically, it's just a really amazing DPS class, and because you're focusing on the range, it helps you take down any of those mobs that are ranged and or going to be flying around the map and trying to rain down hellfire upon your group without your melee characters being able to do anything about it. So it just makes it really powerful. Plus, as you get into magical arrows, poison arrows, and so on and so forth, it's a lot like if you ever played the Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale. The Rangers in those games were really powerful when you got them into the magical arrows, like poison arrows, fire arrows, ice arrows, and so on and so forth, because those arrows could do a ton of damage to the enemies, and it's the same scenario here. So the Ranger, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, should be your third character. But there's one more we got to get to. Let's dive into that. The last in your party needs to be a caster, and for this we're going to be going with the High Elf, who gets an intelligence bonus as well as a dexterity bonus and all the other bonuses that come with being an elf. But the reason I like the High Elf is because you get to choose a high wizard or a wizard cantrip using intelligence as your spell casting ability, which means you get an additional spell as you go in. And from here, there are a couple of ways that you could go, like 3 different ways you could go. It needs to be a straight up caster. You could go with a sorcerer, warlock, or a wizard. I always prefer the wizard. That's just a personal preference. All 3 of these are great options. It just needs to be an intelligence caster of some type in that 4th slot, because you need a massive DPS character backing up everybody else, and you need it to be able to be doing ranged to back up the ranger that you have in your party to take down any of those characters that are going to be flying around the map. So looking at the arcane traditions, this is where you're going to want to do your focus. I personally think that the Shock Arcanist is the best option for raw DPS. With the Shock Arcanist, on Arcane Warfare at level 2, when casting spells from the war list, they count as being cast at 1 slot level higher than the one they actually use. So Burning Hands, Magic Missile, Thunder Wave, Acid Arrow, Scorching Ray, Flaming Sphere, Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Ice Storm, Cone of Cold, Mind Twist, Disintegrate, Chain Lightning, Freezing Sphere. Amazing stuff. At level 6, you get Arcane Fury, which allows you to add your proficiency and intelligence bonus to your evocation spell damage for 1 minute. And beyond that, at level 10, you can use your bonus action to trigger Arcane Shock and make a con saving throw DC 14 first, taking 2d6 physical damage on a failure. But until the end of the turn, you're restrained, but the spells you cast have at least average dice roll value. And you can use this power a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, but then you have to take a long rest. It just makes you a freaking explosion machine, and you can blow things up. It's really great, and it's my personal favorite in terms of just doing raw DPS across the field. So in terms of my favorite, it's always going to be the wizard with that shark arcanist. And then of course, looking at the higher levels, you get all of these additional ability scores. The wizard is one of the ones that doesn't have so much of the additional perks that go along. It's mostly ability score choices, which is fine because you're going to be doing so much raw power through all of the other stuff that you get and all the spells that you get that you could just blow things up from here. In terms of a melee weapon, I would always prefer to use a light crossbow or a dart with the wizard. That way they could be doing some sort of ranged damage in between if needed. Now with your cantrips, you're probably never going to be needing to use an actual weapon with your wizard, but just in case, a ranged weapon is going to be preferred. So there you have it, everybody. This is the ultimate group makeup for a run-through of Solasta Crown of the Magister. You have a human paladin, a dwarven cleric, an elven ranger, a sylvan elf, and a high elf wizard, allowing you to have a great main tank, a lot of healing power, plenty of ranged DPS to bring down flying mobs and ranged characters, as well as a wizard who could do a combination of AoEs, single target, lots of ranged to come in there and just blast things to bits. You don't really need to worry about traps or things of that nature with this group because you're going to have enough heals to power through it. You'll just be able to mow down everything with this group. This is the ultimate combination in my mind for the best playthrough. If you agree, drop it down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. And of course, don't forget to tune into the live streams as I stream Solasta, the Lost Valley expansion. We'll be doing Palace of Ice later this summer and more. Check out all the other playlists here on the channel, and please support if you can. Memberships start at $3 a month here. We do private videos and lots of fun perks. You can do super chats on all of the uploads and live streams. Super thanks on any of the uploads and the YouTube shorts that you see. We have a Patreon page where we have our own tabletop world, as well as a point-and-click adventure game and a fantasy book series. And we play together lots of different games over on a Discord. Links are down below. So hopefully we'll see everybody there as well. Until next time, stay safe. Happy gaming.